Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where Becca is my guest expert. And in this episode, we talk about the signs of burnout. So, hi, Becca.
Hi.
And I would love to know, what are the typical signs that you're experiencing or are close to experiencing burnout?
So, burnout is such an interesting thing
Mm,
because I would say, especially since COVID and all the crazy years, so many more people are experiencing burnout because of their life situations, of
mhm,
the chaos of the last 3 years, of the stress, right?
mhm,
Um, and I think what can happen is as we start experiencing the symptoms, sometimes it's a slow kind of onset, and we start to think, oh, I'm supposed to feel this way. I'm over 40. I'm supposed to feel this way. I'm over whatever. I'm supposed to feel this. I'm a
mhm,
tired mom. I'm supposed to feel this way. Absolutely not. Just because
mhm,
you're over 40, just because you're a mom, just because whatever, while these symptoms might be common, they're not normal. So,
mhm,
some of the most common symptoms of burnout. And when I say burnout, I'm talking about your nervous system. I'm talking
mhm,
about your adrenal health, right? And so that's fatigue, obviously, and like this, and it can be okay. Every afternoon, I just get this energy crash, right? Or it could be just this deep, debilitating, constant fatigue, right? So
right.
there's different types of the
Almost like a
fatigue.
chronic fatigue,
Yeah,
basically.
chronic fatigue, absolutely. Chronic pain,
Mhm,
so where you're like, I didn't injure myself, but I'm just experiencing like these just muscle pain or aches or things that aren't simply explained, right?
right.
Insomnia is a huge one. It's like you're so tired and you go to bed, and as soon as your head hits that pillow, bam, you're wide awake.
Mhm.
So you get
Oh,
that
yeah.
tired but wired feeling to where you're so exhausted, but when your body tries to rest, it's just on overload. It's on
Mm,
overwhelm. It can't shut down and kind of soothe itself, right?
mhm,
Anxiety and depression, so mood imbalances that aren't, it's not like something bad just happened, right? Like just where you're like, this doesn't make sense. I
mhm,
don't understand why I'm anxious. I don't understand why I'm depressed.
right.
There's nothing like acute that has happened to cause
Mm,
it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Brain fog, huge one. It's like you're thinking through mud. You're trying to come up with a sentence or a word
Mhm.
or a concept. You're trying to plug away at your computer for work or whatever, and you're just like, my brain doesn't work,
Yeah,
right?
it's not cooperating
Um,
with me. Yeah.
no, it's not cooperating me. Dizziness can be a huge sign. So
Mm,
especially when you stand up from sitting or laying down, it's like your elevator doesn't go quite to the top.
mhm,
That's a sign of adrenal burnout.
mhm.
Poor memory. Why did I walk into this room just now? I know I came in here for something. I have
Yeah,
no idea what it is. That kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
That kind of thing. Stubborn weight. You're like, okay, I'm eating right. I'm exercising. I'm doing all these things. And so oftentimes, I get clients who are like, I am killing it at the gym and I'm gaining weight, or this weight's not going anywhere. It's because
Mhm,
if you are in adrenal burnout or have adrenal dysfunction and you do
mhm,
this like CrossFit or high intensity cardio or whatever, it's actually going to make things worse. So if
mhm,
you are, so a clue that your workouts are too intense is after your workout, within the few hours after your workout, if your energy tanks, that's
mhm.
a sign that it's too intense and you've got to dial it back. So
Right.
movement that's really supportive and restorative would be like walking, hiking, dancing, gardening, yoga,
Mhm.
stretching, not CrossFit, not
Right.
jogging 5 miles, right? The high
Yeah.
intensity
Nothing too
cardio is,
intense.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just going to actually cycle you further into adrenal issues.
Mm,
Um, Allergy symptoms, low libido, gut issues, or maybe
mhm,
you're what we call sicker quicker, where it's like you just pick up everything that comes around. You're like, oh my gosh, I just had a cold. Oh, I just had this. And you're
mm,
just constantly kind of picking up the
right.
germs because
Yeah.
when you have high levels of the stress hormone cortisol, it depletes your gut immune system.
Mm,
So then you just start, your immune system's not working the way it likes to.
yeah.
Um, and one of my, so you can be in stress, which
Mhm,
is what a lot of people are in. But then there's something even more intense than stress. It's called being in strain. So when
mhm,
you're in strain, it is like um, every action, every thought, every emotion, everything
Mm.
costs 10 times more in
Right.
energy and effort. So it's like if you were to go to the grocery store and something that used to cost you $1
Mm.
now
Right.
costs you $10, right? But in your
Everything is a
body,
struggle.
everything's a struggle. I know when I'm in strain because the universe tells me, because my clothing gets caught on every single door handle that I walk past. And I swear, and also I start dropping things. If I
Oh
start
yeah.
dropping things, like
Me
I'm
too.
like, why am I dropping stuff? Or I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, or like I'm
Yeah.
getting caught in all the door handles. I am telling you without a doubt, every time that's my body's like, slow
Yeah.
it down, come back into balance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so you can be in stress or you can be in strain. And if you're one of
Hmm.
those people that feels like everything feels 10 times as hard as it used to, that's telling
Mm.
you something. That
Yeah.
our bodies were designed for chronic or acute stressors. Something
Hmm.
happens, our body rises to meet that need, our body goes back into balance,
Right.
you know, as cyclical as that needs to be. But nowadays, or for years, we've had those acute stressors as well as chronic stress. So
Right.
we just stay in this level of burnout, and it can kind of
Hmm.
fluctuate, but it's really hard for a lot of people to kind of get out of it. And so some of the biggest triggers for adrenal dysfunction is stress,
Hmm.
emotional, physical, biochemical, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a parasite, right? Both, all of it fills up your stress bucket the same
Hmm.
amount. Lack of sunlight is huge. Liver issues, lack of sleep, inflammation, toxins, nutrient mineral deficiencies, um, obesity, hypothyroidism, head trauma can be a huge issue with
Hmm.
adrenal issues because your brain stops talking to your adrenals the way it should be. Um, and so two of the ways, the easiest ways to get out of adrenal burnout are
Hmm.
rest and play. They're not luxuries,
Hmm.
they're mandatory. They're a necessity for a well functioning nervous system.
Okay, the first
And
one I would guess, but the second one, not so
yeah,
much. Mm.
when we get stressed or overwhelmed,
Hmm.
we get this tunnel vision, right?
Yeah.
So where we're like a racehorse with blinders on, and we're just going through life, just surviving each day. And when we get stressed and we get overwhelmed, the
Hmm.
two things to go typically first are rest and play, and typically play is the first to go. Oh, the
Hmm.
thing that I used to do that would delight me, that would fill my soul, that would just make me feel like a human being. I don't have time for that thing anymore because I'm so stressed and I'm so overwhelmed.
Right.
So it's the very thing that gets you out of stress mode is what we stop doing when we get
Mm.
stressed out. Rest is more common because we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired.
Mm.
I'm gonna go sit on this couch, right? But when we're that racehorse with blinders on, that tunnel vision of stress and overwhelm, we can't see potentially very simple solutions to our problems,
Mm. Right.
but they're in our peripheral vision. So
Mm.
one of the best ways to get out of stress mode, to get out of strain, is to start adding in play activities. And play could be gardening, play could
Hmm.
be talking to a friend, play could be reading a good book, play could be swimming. I mean, there's no right or
Mm.
wrong way to
Just
play.
anything that gives you joy.
Anything that gives you joy,
Mm.
delights you, makes your soul feel alive and plugged in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so if you can do those things
Hmm.
and purposely plan them in, it can be 10 minutes a day. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be an hour here or 3 hours. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. It can be absolutely free. One of my favorite ways to play is just get outside in the kids in the sunshine and like
Yeah.
be goofy, right? Dance party with, or whatever.
Hmm.
And so when you can do those things, the blinders come off. You
Mm.
start to feel plugged in and alive again. You
Yeah.
can get out of stress mode. So getting into stress mode's easy. We all do it pretty quickly,
Yeah.
I think. We don't
Yeah,
need
we're
any
good
help
at
and
that.
support for that.
Yeah.
But the simplest ways is just ask yourself, what did I used to do? What did I used to do that was
Mm.
so much fun? What did I used to do that made me feel joy and delight and peace?
Mm.
Start doing those
Yeah.
things because those
Yeah.
are the very things that are going to support your adrenals to then start functioning again. So you have high energy, right?
Mm.
So you have a high functioning brain so that your weight is balanced out, so that your hormones are in balance. Like PMS is one of the biggest signs of adrenal issues because your adrenals directly impact your sex hormones. When you're in
Hmm.
fight or flight, when you're just in the chronic burnout, your body senses it's not safe. And it's not a safe time to make a baby. Now, a lot of us don't want
Mm.
to make a baby at the time, But what I'm saying is that it's going to purposely throw off your sex hormones because it's not a safe time to make baby. So then all of a sudden you get this horrible PMS and cramping and, and all of these things simply because we're in stress constantly or we're in
Mhm.
something constantly.
Wow, it affects so much, right? It's insane how, and yeah, like you said, when you want to change the burnout or reverse it, actually, uh, do what gives you joy is the most necessary, and also resting to give your body some peace of mind. But like you said, peace of mind is always hard to come by, especially when it's in constant, like
Yes.
it's constantly on. So do you know how do you get that silence back in your mind to actually give your body that rest it needs?
So one of my favorite self-care activities is what I
Mm,
call white space. I
mm,
literally go sit, I love the sun. I'm solar
mm,
powered. I sit in the sun or in the shade if it's a million degrees outside.
mm,
No phone, no book, no magnet, like nothing. And
mm,
you just sit and be and breathe, take a solid deep breath in and out.
mm,
Um, Pay attention. This is how the breeze feels on my face. This is how the sun feels on my skin. There's just the animals are here. And you
mm,
just get to be. And it's such a great adrenal reset. Ideally, you're also at that same time putting your feet on the earth, bare feet on the earth.
mm. Right.
Grounding and being in nature is a huge, huge key to adrenal
Mm-hmm.
reset. And then early morning sunlight. If you can get early morning sunlight in your eyes, no, I'm not saying look at the sun. I'm saying get outside with no glasses or contacts or whatever. Roll your window down an inch if you're driving to work because sunlight bounces. That early morning sunlight is so healing for your
Mm-hmm.
adrenals. And one of the most simple and beautiful ways to heal your adrenal function is to watch the sunrise and watch the sunset because there are certain spectrums of light in the sunrise and sunset that are incredibly healing for your adrenals, your
Mm-hmm.
hormones, your whole endocrine system. So, when we think about getting healthy, people think, oh, it's expensive. I can afford that. Sunlight's free,
Mm.
fresh air is free.
Oh yeah.
Put your foot on the feet on the ground. That's free. White space is free.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be these super lengthy, super expensive processes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think our bodies were not made to be under fluorescent lights inside, all day long. Our bodies
Yeah.
are electric and we need to
Yeah.
harness the
We're made of
the
stars
what
and of nature.
yeah, our
Yeah.
bodies need to harness the energy and the beauty of the earth. I
Mm.
mean, that's
Yeah.
what we were designed for. But
Absolutely.
no, we're inside. We're working during the sunrise or sunset. It's
Yeah.
like we're just not taking advantage of
Mm.
things that are all of us that can be so, so healing.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for today, Becca. It was a joy
Absolutely.
to talk to you, and I'm sure many people will know a lot more about the gut-brain connection now.
Good. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.